Bill Plaschke joining us on the program. Bill, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Has LeBron lived up to what I guess Laker fans thought he was going to be?
Yes, he has. He has now, Dan. He's become, I wrote this in the LA Times. I think he became a Laker the first game after Kobe's passing when he spoke to the fans and connected with them, and then everything that's happened before then and since then. He's really invested in this team. He's really engaged, and he's really great again. Oh my God! And I don't think the people here realize how good he is. And last night was very cool because in the same court where they were mourning Kobe just 24 hours earlier. In fact, it was a mourning that was so encompassed him so much. I don't believe he came to the ceremony. He didn't even come to the ceremony, and he couldn't handle it. And yet he comes out the next night. He's the oldest player to score at least 40 at Staples Center since Kobe dropped 60 back in his retirement game. So that was kind of cool. But yes, he is really. He's in all these MVP chants are really for real. I mean, I don't see how this guy's got to be the MVP.
Well, I've been saying that too, Bill. I said we forgot about LeBron, that he hadn't won an MVP since 2012, 2013, and we've taken him for granted, and it almost feels like there's an anti-LeBron bias elsewhere around the league, that you're looking for somebody, hey, let's, Harden and Westbrook and the Greek Freak, while they're all wonderful players, this year, I said, what better storyline for people? Because we do love our stories, and LeBron would be, I think he should be the front runner for the MVP.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he carried the team up until Kobe's passing, and then think of what he's done since then. I mean, all the turmoil, and this team could have been torn apart, and the town is torn apart, and everybody's torn apart, and he just shows up every night and just balls out every night. And he's unbelievable at his age, and the way he's playing and the way he's leading this team. He's the clear leader of the team, and he's brought them together. And he and AD are playing tremendously together, and they don't have much around them, and they're beating the hell out of everybody. Yeah, I mean, they haven't blown a fourth quarter lead this season. I mean, he's been unbelievable. And again, given this, you talk about the storyline, given the circumstances and all this, and you have to understand this team. Not only did they go through since Kobe's passing, did they have the first game against Portland back there, and it was like a public wake, and it was so awful and melodramatic and really difficult to get through. They go through this in every road place they play for the first time. Kobe's honored, so it gets brought back up every place they go. They're surrounded by the city is trying to move on with the grieving, and everyone's trying to move on. Finally, I think they can't move on. They're surrounded by it every night, and LeBron shows up every night, and also he talks. I think it's underrated the fact that in today's media, everybody talks about players being not accessible. He talks every day, and he says something intelligent every day to the media, and he represents the team and represents the city. Yeah, he is so far from what happened last year. He has really become a Laker. He's become an Angelino, and people here just absolutely love him.
If I gave the Lakers a mulligan and said you could trade away Kuzma instead of Ingram, would they have done that? Would they still made that deal?
No, they wouldn't have made that deal. No, they asked, but I think they knew. I think there's a reason New Orleans wanted and demanded Ingram, and there's a reason New Orleans settled for not taking Kuzma. I think we're seeing that reason now. Kyle's a nice little player, but I think he got a little bit of Hollywood, and I think he got a little bit lost his way a little bit, and he's not really the factor they need. And this is huge because I think as great as LeBron and AD are doing, and LeBron is going to be the MVP, can he keep up in the playoffs without a third piece? I don't know. All the minutes he's playing. I mean, look at the minutes he's playing compared to the minutes Giannis plays. Giannis plays like 8 or 9 less minutes a game.
Yeah, amazing.
Because he stored himself up for the playoffs. Yes, I think, and that's still the big issue here is that everyone says, can these two guys hold up in the postseason? Can they hold up against the Clippers in a tough, 7-game series? Can they hold up without getting the Darren Collison, the third piece they really wanted, without getting a shooter? Heck, they're talking to Dion Waiters now. Did you hear that?
I know.
I know.
And J.R. Smith, and I went, oh no, Bill.
Smith, oh no, I know. So that's the other shoe dropping here is what happens then. And I think the town is kind of, so everybody's thrilled with LeBron, and really admires how he's overcome all this stuff, and they're really dealing with everything. But everybody's really worried that what's going to happen in May in Staples Center against the Clippers, or against the Nuggets, or against the Bucks. I don't think they're as good as the Bucks at all, and I don't think anybody thinks that. So can they figure out that last piece? And then Rob, of course, the man having to make the deal, Rob Pelinka, lost his best friend.
Yeah.
So there's so much they're going through out here, and there's so much to admire about how they've handled everything.
We're talking to Bill Plaschke, LA Times columnist and contributor to ESPN's Around the Horn. I was wondering with Zion Williamson that the hype for him, it felt like it was more than LeBron, even though LeBron was a high schooler on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But Zion had that 1 year where he's on national TV for 31 games with Duke and living up to those expectations. Can you remember back with LeBron? Can you compare these two? Are they on the same level as far as that hype that surrounded them coming in?
Yeah, no, I think LeBron, I was, as one who's old enough to remember, I covered LeBron's high school game at Pauley Pavilion. And I ripped into how can a high school team travel across the country and play and miss these young men are missing classes, and I was shouting back then. I don't think we can compare, Dan. I don't think Zion had. I mean, I don't know how many people watched him. I mean, in high school, they watched his dunks and everything, but LeBron was on national TV since he was 15 or 14 years old or something. I mean, I still think LeBron is the models the standard for the toughness of having to grow up under the social media age. I really do. But I tell you what, Zion's he's really good. Oh my goodness. And he's so fast. He's so fast and he's so big. And but you saw what happened last night in the fourth quarter. LeBron took over. Zion, is still just a kid learning his way.
One other thing, Tom Verducci, the great baseball reporter, broadcaster, he was talking about this courtesy of Major League Baseball Network. He had the following to say about the World Series with Clayton Kershaw facing the Astros in 2017.
And it's interesting. When I went back and looked at this game, and again, you're looking at it in hindsight with more knowledge we have now than we had then. Kershaw threw 51 sliders and curveballs that day and got 0 swings and misses on them. I mean, that alone will make you start thinking that something was up.
What do you make of that?
Oh, well, it's what I've been writing about for 3 months. They were screwed out of a championship. Oh, there was no question. And I'm not saying the commissioner ever should have given the Dodgers the title because they didn't win it on the field, but it should be at least vacated. They were jobbed out of that championship. I was there for every pitch. They win Game 5. They win the World Series. There's no question. They had at least as good of a team as the Astros that year. Kershaw blowing Kershaw. Granted, we all know he blows leads in postseasons, but he doesn't blow 2, 3, or 4-run leads in the same game.
Yeah.
He did it. He blew twice. No, there's no question. The Dodgers were the ones that were really robbed in this thing. And his legacy. Think about his legacy, and you can't go back on that now. And even people can say, well, okay, all the cheating scandal hurt him. He's still known as an October failure.
Yeah.
And this could have changed. He gets out of that Game 5. Everything for him changes. I don't care what he does against the Nationals last year. Okay, well, he had a bad game. At least he's got a championship ring. It would have changed everything. This affected that's why these players are so mad. It's affected legacy. Not just affected one season. It affected lives. It affected legacies. His legacy is forever affected by it. People are going to say he's never going to be considered like Sandy Koufax out here. Never. Even though he's better than Koufax in every conceivable stat because of that World Series, because of those playoffs, because of what happened in Game 5 against the Astros. It's wrong. It's just wrong, Dan. It's just wrong. And that's where Rob Manfred, a piece of metal. Give me a break. I got your piece of metal, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You wrote a wonderful column, and you focused on Vanessa Bryant. As you said, honest words and emotions. It really connected with people. And, I wanted to have you on just to say that, you captured his spirit there. I know you were sitting there in the audience, and I don't know how you could be taking notes with what was going on because I'm watching and I'm just crying. So I can't imagine being a reporter.
I wasn't taking notes. We had the tape recorder running, and I was stunned. And and to answer your kind words, I appreciate it. I was stunned. She spoke. I know Michael Jordan cried, and it was really compelling. But the fact that Vanessa spoke, she said more Dan, she said more in that service than she has said in 20 years previously publicly. Yeah. She's private. And to talk about your daughter and your husband like that, oh my God, the strength she showed. Now, I really hope she takes up his mantle and becomes more of a public figure and takes up his causes. I hope that happens out here. I hope she becomes a leading figure in the community the way he was, because she's certainly ready for that.
Bill, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always.
Thanks, guys. You're awesome. See you.
That's Bill Plaschke, LA Times, and, of course, Around the Horn contributor.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.